Greetings, you absolutely magical human. My name is Monica De Silva, and welcome to episode 7, titled My Best Friend. This gorgeous creature over here goes by the affectionate name The Peanut, also known as Peanut. And I thought it was just so fitting for me to speak about my best friend in light of yesterday's episode, which was all about how sometimes when we decide to show up in life as our authentic, raw, and real selves and honor that and park the perfection that we sometimes disillusion ourselves with or put on the masks pretending to be a certain way, it's always very interesting to see who sticks around. And if you did see that episode, or if you're curious about that episode, I share how since 2018, I really have been going through this metamorphosis. My dad's passing was a big catalyst to that metamorphosis, as was beginning a homeschooling journey with our 2 boys, which fundamentally meant I also had to embark on this unschooling and homeschooling journey, which is required, I guess, or which found us. And I thought it would be fitting for me to speak about some of the friendships and some of the relationships that exited my life and my space, and how when I started to realize how unauthentic I was starting to be, and at the time completely unbeknown to me, I started to realize, because it was starting to cause a lot of dis-ease in my physical body, literally. It was becoming very visible on my face. It was becoming very visible and evident, especially within my breasts. And yes, I am 46 years young. I know it's very hard to believe. But I guess they would say that I'm entering the perimenopause era and all those kinds of things. And of course, the body is starting to alter, shift, and change, preparing me for my years as a crone. And with that comes a lot of changes. But I really do feel that the fact that I wasn't honoring who I really was essentially the core reason and the catalyst for that. Nobody else's fault. No fingers being pointed. Taking full accountability and honoring the reality of what was. I'm so grateful for those friendships, as I shared in yesterday's episode. So grateful. So grateful for those friendships, for those relationships. And I don't look back at it with any regret at all. Had so many fun times, and they truly were the most special, magical humans ever, and they still are. But as life has it, events happen, experiences happen, things start to come into your world that make you look at life fundamentally different, because it's literally making you go down a path which you are perhaps destined and meant to go down. And I guess that's what today's all about. It's about embracing those paths. And when you start embracing those paths, you never know quite where they're going to go and who you're going to meet. And if you had asked me 13 years when we had gotten our wonderful little pooch over there, Peanut, she was actually a gift to my husband as a birthday present. And she did come in as a third pup at the time. I already had a beautiful Jack Russell called Shay Shay, and a Dachshund, or a sausage dog, as they're also known, called Blade. And as wonderful and as special as they were, and they were the 2 pups we had when we just started our new venture in being married, and they were our first kids, if I can use that word. They were truly special, and I always hold a really sacred place in my heart for them. But the relationship that I had with them was definitely not the relationship like I have with Peanut. I guess if I'm being very honest, they were still dogs. And Peanut for me is just so much more than a dog. She is my best friend. And it made me think about, well, what makes a best friend? And I'm not even sure if I can answer that, if I'm being very honest with you. I don't even know what kind of a best friend I have been, if I'm being very honest. I think I'm a good person, and I am, and I guess I try to be as good of a best friend as I possibly can be. But hey, man, I've also got areas that I'm working on, and I also have my flaws and little quirks and things that probably get on not only one tit but on two tits. So I am not devoid and naive and thinking that I am a friend that is perfection. In fact, friendship for me has actually been quite a challenging topic. And I don't want to dwell on what friendship has been for me in a negative term, but perhaps I just wish to honor it and reflect on it. The fact that I had to start this recording 3 times, I think subconsciously tells me that I knew that this was going to be a little bit of a challenging topic for me to discuss and talk about. So growing up, and I guess before I went to school, I didn't really have friends. I grew up with my mum, and I had some family friends and that kind of stuff. So that's, I guess, what I knew as friends. I was a great tomboy. I was on the walls outside, climbing trees, throwing mud balls up against the wall. I dabbled in a little bit of Barbie, but shame, no, I wasn't really that kind of a girl. I must be honest with you. And it was, I guess it was my exposure or the setup for my friendship. I guess at a very young age, I started to realize that I already was my best friend. But at the time, of course, you never look inward. You are always looking outward, especially when you are so young. And then teenagehood started. Obviously, I was in school and high school and all that stuff. And friends was fascinating for me. I always found myself in friendship groups that landed me in a friendship group of, it always started off as 2 of us, and then before I knew it, there were 3 of us. And if you know anything about the pyramid effect, that's exactly what started to happen in my life and in my world, time and time and time again. And looking back, I can definitely see how the pattern was there. I trust that I've learned a lot and that I've been able to break that pattern, if I can be bold enough to say that. But yes, I always found that I became the third wheel. I always found that I was the better friend initially, and then when I was just myself, I was slowly pushed aside. At least that's how I experienced it and how I viewed it. Of course, I'm sharing this through the lens of my experience and my perspective. It could have been very different from my friends' experiences. But that's how I viewed it, and I guess that's what I needed to experience at the time. So yes, I did always feel like I was the third wheel. And it was just interesting for me to see the reasons why that used to happen and when the shifts used to take place. And of course, in life, you start to recognize those patterns, and then you start to alter yourself and you start to change yourself in a way that perhaps makes you feel safer or makes you feel protected, so that you prevent what you know is going to happen, whether or not I'm creating it or whether or not it's happening to me. I'm still not sure. Perhaps a little bit of both. But nonetheless, I found myself coming into groups of 3s and trilogies very frequently. So at this particular juncture and point in time, my friend circle, like I said in yesterday's episode, is literally, can be put on one hand. I'd say that it's my partner, my husband. He truly is one of my best friends. We've known each other since we were 5, or he was 6, 7, and I was 5. And we started dating when I was 18. We got married at 24. So we've been together for many, many years, 22. You can go check out another episode, which Love Requires Discipline. And I talk a little bit more about marriage and long-term partnerships and the discipline that is required when you are not only loving yourself, but sharing your love with another. But in the context of today, let's stick with the friendships. But yes, my partner, I would love to say that my 2 boys are becoming my friends. But if I'm really honest, I feel that I can't really even add them onto my hand yet. I feel that I'm still very much playing the mom role. And I trust, and I really, really do pray that I will become their friend in an authentic and in a way that nurtures not only one-sided relationship, but that we nurture each other just like friendship should. But time, I guess, will tell. Perhaps I'll plant the seed and continue to water the soil and trust that that does come into fruition. But for now, they're still young men and they're still growing into their own selves. So yes, they're friends in the essence of some ways, but I can't share everything with them. And for me, I guess that is a big part of friendship. A friendship for me is something that you can share anything with this person. The test of a true friend for me is someone who doesn't take that sacred and raw and real and sometimes very vulnerable information and use it in a way to contort, distort, manipulate, or hurt you. I believe that a friend will never do that. Yes, perhaps they may use information that you've shared with them to assist in you seeing something in a certain way, but it's the tone, it's the manner, and it's the experience that you have, not only once, but I guess repetitively, time and time again, right? What else for me is the testament of a true and real friend? So Peanut for me, she came into my life 13 years ago as a gift to my husband. And we originally had 2 pups as well. So she was the 3rd pup as part of the family. And my other 2 pups, as wonderful as they were, good old Shay and Blade, they were, if I'm being honest, they were just dogs. They were just dogs. Maybe because I was a new mom and I was focusing on raising my kids. And they were definitely part of our family. But the experience was very different. Needless to say that around 2019, 2018, my dad's passing, we started homeschooling. There was a lot of change that happened in my life. My friend circle started to change, disappear completely. And we moved areas. There was a lot of change, evidently, going on in my life and in my world. And there was also a lot of change going on in Peanut's world. Our 2 pups that we had passed, and they came of age, and her and I were, I guess, solo. And we found each other. I'm getting quite emotional as I'm starting to say this. And I really never thought that I would ever have a pooch. People speak about this union or this relationship or this feeling that they have with their pets. And I guess I never truly understood it. But I do now, and I'm so honored and so blessed and so fortunate to have experienced it, especially with a pup like her. She is just the most loving pooch. She's so gentle and she's so kind. And I can share anything and everything with her. And she just listens. She really does just listen. And she just gives you unconditional love and is always just so happy to see you, regardless of the circumstances and regardless of the situations. And she made me realize what a real friend is actually all about. So I would just like to dedicate today's episode to our pooch Peanut. She truly is a blessing, and I feel now in hindsight, even though she was a gift to my husband, I truly feel she's not only a gift to our family as a unit, but she's been such a godsend to me. and she's offered me such healing, and she's offered me such compassion and grace and just such tenderness and love. If it's so beautiful and interesting and also so cute. I offer embodiment sessions, and when I show up with my clients, it's usually virtual sessions that I host, at least at this particular juncture in my life. There she is. I'd say she's there pretty much 80% of the time. And she's also holding space, and she's also giving her energy, and she's also just there to support me and encourage me. And it's just so beautiful to see. Even if you see her on my social media feed, on my Yogi with the Yoni page on IG, I've got a daily yoga practice which I've been doing consecutively for 553 days as it stands here today. And she is there also 80% of the time. You see her either sitting there right with me, in front of me, on my carpet or on my mat, walking past. Sometimes she's there, you don't see her, but she's there. She's there, I'd say 95% of the time, actually. She is getting on with age, and I can definitely feel it. In fact, I feel her distancing herself a little from time to time. And it just reminds me to really honor my time with her and just be so grateful for our forest walks almost every day. She gets a little bit sad when we don't go for our daily forest walks. But she keeps me grounded, she keeps me rooted, and she reminds me to stay gentle and soft and not be so hard, and that I don't need to close up my heart. I just need to perhaps protect it from time to time and shine my light as bright as I can to reflect any darkness that comes my way. So yes, hey, today I guess is a shout out to all dog owners and cat owners, and even if you've got a chinchilla, let's put those chinchillas in there as well, or any pet that you really have in your life, or that you've had in your life, that you truly hold sacred, and they hold space for you just like you hold space for them. May we honor them and be reminded that they are also sentient beings, and that they are also here to do God's work. And let's raise a glass virtually, ching ching, to the magical pets that come into our life and into our world. And they come with such powerful missions as well. And yeah, I think that's what I want to share. That's what I feel called to share. In honor of maybe just finishing this off just a little lighter, I have some angel cards here again. Yes. This deck was actually given to me by a group of very special friends, and I learned an enormous amount from them. I'd say that I got into angel card reading, or my first deck actually came from them. So I'd like to honor them. They're very special. I hold a very special place in my heart for them, despite some of the challenges that we face together. But I have no doubt that in our own power and in our own essence and in our own unique light and beingness, that we are doing magical and transformative and powerful things on this earth. In fact, we got a shared tattoo all together. We went on a little holiday once, and we of course did the rebellious thing. This was my very first tattoo. So at the age of, how young was I don't know, maybe 38, 36 maybe, dare I say. So yes, I didn't say that was very young, but here I am getting a tattoo for the first time, and we all got matching tattoos. So let's see what card wants to pop out in honor of today's message and what wisdom wants to reveal itself. Shall we see? First round. Okay. Second round maybe. Let's have a look. Oh, there it is. So let's see. Oh, there were 2 cards that actually popped out, I'll have you know. So let's see what comes through. So these cards are saying morning affirmations. Say positive affirmations each morning to open the gates of manifestation. And the other card says soulmate relationship. New romance with a spiritual basis is here for you now. So these are the beautiful cards. I'm just going to... So they are mermaids and dolphins. That's what the deck's called. And then this one over here is also just so beautiful. So perhaps these messages resonate, perhaps they don't. If they resonate, or take what resonates and leave the rest behind, as they say. But yes, keep reminding you of the magic that is you through your daily practice. If you don't have a daily practice, it's an opportunity for you to start fostering one. And for me, this soulmate relationship, I guess, really is speaking to the union that is beyond my partner and my husband. I almost, when I'm looking at this card, I almost feel like it's a relationship which I'm rekindling with myself, my authentic, unique essence and being. And perhaps it's because I am going into the crone era and I'm feeling more confident and more comfortable within my physical vessel. And I'm beginning to connect more powerfully with source and spirit and the ethereal realm. That I feel this card is really just a reminder that soulmate relationship is always fundamentally with oneself before you can extend it outside. I have shared this before in a previous episode, but I feel it's just a reminder and a confirmation of that magic. And I mean, even if you look at this wonderful card here, there's like 3 dolphins at the back here, and I was just speaking about 3 dolphins. 3, the triangle, and how I've always been in friend circles of 3. And then this card pulls out right afterwards, where it's really telling me that I have to first find the true friend within myself before I can venture out and become a true friend to anyone else. Maybe that's a great way for me to end this message and this episode, and just a reminder of how friendship always begins with oneself first and foremost. So in true tradition and style, I'd like to wish you the best for the rest of the day or the evening, wherever this message finds you. Remember to keep shining your unique light. Remember to stay magical. And as always, keep sowing those seeds. Keep allowing the flow to happen so that you can continue to grow and begin to glow. Until I see you tomorrow, you absolutely delicious and magical and majestic human. Stay bright and keep shining your light. Peace out.